videotape. All right, here we go. I'm recording. So it says find the derivative. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but there's no A, B, C, D on this one. See that? Because I couldn't find a question like this, an AP question, so I just made one up. Yeah, you understand what I just said right there? Couldn't find a problem like an actual AP question like this one right here, so I just made one up just like it. You guys are looking at the final. I'm going over the final that you're about to take. Okay, the derivative of x cubed is just 3x squared, but then right here, this is product rule. So first times the derivative of the second plus second times the derivative of the first, right there. The way I did this back then, I would rather not. I would rather you pull the two out and then you do the derivative of these two. First times the derivative of the second. Well, the derivative of y is 1, but since I take the derivative of y, you write dy dx. Plus second times the derivative of the first, 2x. Then put the 2x back in. And when you do that, you get 2x squared dy dx. 2x squared dy dx plus 4xy. Now, we still have this 3x squared on this side. So I did that minus the derivative of 4y would just be negative 4. But since I took the derivative of y, you write dy dx. And then take all the dy dx's and have them on the left side. And then put all the other junk on the right side. So this one goes over there, and this one goes over there. And by the way, to get rid of 3x squared, you got to subtract it. So minus 3x squared from both sides, minus 4xy. Anyway, you have your two dy dx's on this side, so it should be 2x squared dy dx. And what was the other one? Negative 4 dy dx. Factor out a dy dx, dy dx. And you get 2x squared minus 4, then equals whatever this was before. Divide this side by 2x squared minus 4, divide this side by 2x minus 4, and that's your answer right there. Done. All right. Obviously on the final. Next one. Okay. Trig. Let's talk about trig. So my students were asking me in my other class, well, how do you know tangent? How do you do tangent? So it's the tangent of 3x. This was an exact, or not exact, really close test question in chapter 3 test, except for I think on your chapter 3 test, wasn't the sine or cosine? We even did the pi over 9, didn't we? Okay, so here it is. The derivative of tangent. Oh, I can't remember. What's the derivative of tangent? Let's see here. It's a secret. P-S-S-T. Secant, tangent. The derivative of secant is secant tangent. The derivative of tangent is secant squared. So the answer is secant squared stuff, derivative of the stuff, times 3. So there's your answer right there. 3 secant squared 3x. Now you plug pi over 9 in for x, and you get 3 secant squared 3 pi over 9. Put a pi over 9 right there. Now, 3 pi over 9 is really pi over 3. Pi over 3. So this is 3 times the secant of pi over 3 and the squared. Squared right there. Now, secant. Oh, what's secant? Well, I don't know. I don't know secant, cosecant, and I also don't know cotangent. But I do know sine, cosine, and tangent from the unit circle. Those are the ones that we'll need to memorize. Sine, cosine, tangent. Sine is cosecant's buddy. If you want to find cosecant, you just find sine and then flip it. If you want to find secant, that's cosine's buddy. So find cosine and then flip it. If you want to find cotangent, that's tangent's buddy. So all you got to do is find tangent and flip it. So we just got to find cosine, because that's secant's buddy, and then flip it. Okay, pi over 3. Cosine of pi over 3. Pi over 3. This is pi over 6. Pi over 6 is the small angle. Pi over 3 is the big angle. Pi over 3, big angle, big side. The big side of this triangle is root 3 over 2. Small side, 1/2. Okay, this is cosine. This is sine. The x is cosine. The y is sine. So it'd be 1/2. Cosine of pi over 3 is 1/2. So secant would be 2. 3 times 2 squared, 3 times 4 is 12. Done. Is that the answer? Yep, 12. There it is. All right. You guys mind if I just do 10 and then stop it? Because if I screw this up, then I won't screw the whole thing up. All right. Oh, just so you guys know, we're going to curve you like crazy. This is going to be curved. The actual AP curve is somewhere in the 40-ish%, like 37, 38, 39, 40% is B, or 3. 50-ish%, 55, 50 to 50, somewhere right there, is an A minus, or a 4. And 70-ish% is a perfect, which is a 5. It's going to be hard questions. If it's, if they're giving you, you can fail 60% of it and still get a passing college grade. So it's going to be some hard questions. But you'll get better at them. Spider. Okay, this is a velocity graph. Velocity graph. It says, when does the spider change directions? When does it change directions? So he's going forward, 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 stop. Backward, 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 stop. Or sometimes they say right, 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 stop. Left, 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 stop. He changes directions only at 4. He stops at 7, 4, and 0, but he actually changes directions from forward to backward at time 4. There's your answer right there. Actually, that would be an easier one. I would hope you'd be able to get that one right there. All right. Just making sure it's still doing it. All right, next one. Four. Says, at what point on the graph is the tangent line parallel to this function? Okay, so at what point on the graph of this one right here is the tangent line parallel to this graph? Like, it's a graph of a parabola. Let's just draw a parabola. This is a line. I don't really know the line because they didn't write it in y equals mx plus b form, but I can do that. Let's see here. 4x minus 8y equals 5. Minus 4x from both sides, minus 4x, you get negative 8y equals negative 4x plus 5. Divide by negative 8, divide by negative 8, you get y is equal to 1/2 x, and does this other stuff even matter right there? All I wanted was this slope, 1/2. So this tangent line right here, this line, parallel to this line right here, this line is some rise 1, run 2 line. Something like this. Slope is 1/2. And where on that curve, at some point on the curve, there's a tangent line parallel to that. How do you find that spot? You just do the derivative. And you set it equal to 1/2. The derivative, this is in the way. The derivative of 1/2 x squared would just be 1/2. The 2 would come in front times 2. X. This would be x equals 1/2. Right there. X equals 1/2. And then you look at your answers. When x is 1/2 on this parabola, it is true. 1/2. Oh, this is an answer, or this is an answer. On the actual exam this Friday, 50-50 guess is pretty good. Like, if you can get it down to 2, that's really good, actually. How would you find the y? You guys know? Plug it into what? The original, this one or this one? This one right here, right? So it'd be 1/2 And then 1/2 squared minus, what is that? Is that 3/2? Which is 1/2 times 1/4 minus 3/2. Looks like you're going to make you see you do some fractions. 1/8 minus 3/2. Common denominator is 8. So multiply this by 4. Multiply this by 4. 1/8 minus 12/8. Negative 11/8. I hope that's right. Is it? There it is. B. All right, 5. Okay, this one is tough, and I got to show this to you because eventually you're going to get it. It's actually super, super, super easy, but you guys are so confused by this limit as h goes to 0 thing that you just get lost in the problem. I'm going to show you the easiest way to do these problems. So, I don't know if you guys remember this. Do you remember when we did this? The limit as x plus h times x plus h minus x squared over h as h goes to 0. We took this x plus h squared and we actually did the math. Do you remember this? What's that?
The definition of derivative.
Yeah, this is the definition of derivative. We used to do this, and now we know a way quicker way. But I'm going to do it the old way. So you do this, right? X plus h, and your answer is going to be x squared plus 2xh plus h squared minus x squared over h, the limit as h goes to 0. The x squareds cancel out. We get the limit as h goes to 0. Don't do this. Don't write what I'm doing right here. Of 2xh plus h squared over h. And then what do we always, can you put the 0 in there now? No. You had to do something to the top. What do you have to do? Factor out an h, right? So it would be 2x, factor out an h, plus h, all over h, the limit. Don't forget to write the limit as h goes to 0. The h's cancel out. Now can I plug the 0 in? And what do you get? 2x. Now that's the way we used to do derivatives when we first learned it. There's a much easier way to do this. So this is the definition of derivative. It's the limit as h goes to 0 of f of x plus h minus f of x all over h. Now, look at this. What's the actual function? Where's the function in here? Right here. See it? Right there? So, from this definition of derivative, which is the way they wrote it, right there, this means do the derivative. This means do the derivative of what?
X squared.
The function, which is x squared. It's right here. This is it. They want you to do the derivative of x squared. What's the derivative of x squared? It's 2x. You see it or not? Way shortcut. I see some heads shaking. Okay, so this is called the definition of derivative. And we used to do this the old-fashioned way. We did all the math. We just did all the algebra, and we crossed out the h, and we jammed the 0 back in. That's the way we used to do derivatives. But the definition of derivative is basically put the function right here, and then put a plus h with the x right here, and then do all the math, which is what they did right here. The derivative or the function is x squared. Then they go x plus h squared, and then you got to do all that algebra, or just know where the function is. It's right there. And they're asking you to do the derivative, that's what this means, of x squared. And the derivative of x squared is 2x. Now, is that the answer? No, it says, for what values of x does it equal 4? So this is 4. This is the derivative of x squared. What does the derivative of x squared equal 4? The derivative of x squared, which is 2x, equals 4. I know. When x equals 2. Done. That's a hard question, but good for you to see right now. Good stuff. Did that kind of make sense a little bit? No? All right. I want to get to some limits. Here they are right here. Let's do 6, then the limits. 6. 7 is a limit question. You know what? Let's do 7, then I'll do 6. Let's do limits. Limits that were like 2 months ago. Now, if you look at the limit one and you're like, I forgot how to do limits. I don't know how to do this limit. This is actually the easiest limit question on the test. The limit is n goes to infinity. That was super special and super easy. Do you remember what it was? What?
The highest degree.
Yeah, it's n behavior model. So it's way over there. N behavior model is EBM. We call it. I'll always call it EBM. N behavior model is when you cross off all the junk. Cross off, cross off, cross off, cross off, cross off, cross off. Now, do you cross off from right to left? Man, what'd you say?
No, you leave the highest degree.
You leave the highest degree. Now, the mistake on this one would be this. You forget the negative. The negative does belong to the 2. The highest degree on the top is negative 2n cubed. The highest degree on the bottom is n cubed. Who's going to win? Either of them. You cross these out, right? There's your answer. Done. Kind of remember that? Okay, now, this is what a student in my second hour said. They said, Ziegler, what if it's like this? What if it's 3x cubed over 4x to the 4th? And then all the junk. You cross off all the junk and you get to the end right here. Who's going to win? The bottom's going to win. It's going to end up being 1 over the 4 doesn't even matter. X, right? When you plug infinity in, you have 1 over 4 times infinity. And I don't know if you guys remember when I was telling you guys about pizza, but 1 slice of pizza out of 4 infinity, you know, like bajillions and bajillions and bajillions of people, how much pizza did you really get? None. This is 0. What about this? What if it ended up being big number on top and small number on the bottom? Who wins on this one? Top. So when you plug infinity in now, what's the answer? It's infinity. Infinity. All right, just asides. Those aren't on the test. I just wanted to go back and tell you about those. All right, let's go back up to this one. Quotient rule. Low D high minus high D low. Low D high minus high D low. So they did that. Low. Do I have some work up here? I do. There it is. So low times the derivative of the high, and the derivative of e to the stuff is e to the stuff times the derivative of the stuff times 3. Low d high minus high, which is e to the 3x, times the derivative of low, which would just be 3. Low d high minus high d low, all over low squared. And then I multiplied it out, and then you get your answer and then stop. And then look at your answers and go, oh man, how do I make my answer look like these answers right here? Now, all 3 of these answers have 3x squared on the bottom, and I know this is 9x squared. So something must be happening. And they're also factored. All these guys are factored out. So factor out something. It looks like you can factor out a 3 and an x squared. So they factor out a 3 and an x squared. I'm sorry, 3 and an e to the 3x out of all of them. Factor them out, and you get this. And they crossed out the 3's. Actually, one of the 3's right there, and ended up with this answer right there. That's just a low D high, high D low, with a little bit of algebra factoring right there. Am I going too fast? You guys okay? I'll stop at 10. Did that one. All right, this has been a long time since we did this, but an easy one. This is chapter 2. It says if a function is continuous for all real numbers, then they wrote this. What is when you plug a -3 in? Well, when you plug a -3, you get a 0 on the bottom. I don't know if you guys remember this, but x squared minus 9 is really x minus 3, x plus 3, all over x plus 3. Oh, what can you do? Cancel. Okay, once you cancel, Now can you plug in -3? -3 minus 3, -6. Done. That's the answer. You guys know what this is when you cross them out? It's a hole. What if you don't cross them out? What if I had an x plus 4 down here? What if that doesn't get crossed out? That's going to be a vertical asymptote. Okay? When you cross them out, it's a hole. Cool. All right. This one is tough. This is one of the toughest questions on the whole thing. Okay. It says, what is the minimum? Now, this is how mean they are on some of this stuff. It says, what is the minimum value? We just did this. Don't you just take the derivative and set equals 0? Okay, take the derivative, set equals 0. So it's going to be a product rule. First times the derivative of the second. The derivative of e to the stuff is e to the stuff. The derivative of e to the stuff is e to the stuff times the derivative of the stuff. What's the derivative of 1 over x, or x to the -1 power? The derivative of 1 over x is -1 x to the -2, which is really -1 over x squared. So first times the derivative of the second plus second times the derivative of the first. All right, so that's where they get this right here. Looks like they canceled out one of these x's. So this x goes away. They cancel this one right here. So you get -1 over x, e to the 1 over x, plus e to the 1 over x. So first thing you do is do the derivative. Then factor it. Looks like they factored out an e to the 1 over x out of both. They factored a e to the 1 over x out of both, and you end up with this. When is e 0? Never. So all you have to do is check this one right here. All I have to check is -1 over x plus 1. When does that equal 0? I'm going to bring this 1 over here, and you get -1 over x equals -1. Crisscross applesauce. I don't know how you guys did that, but this would be -x, and this would be -1 divided by -1 divided by -1, x equals 1. And you go, oh, x equals 1. There's my answer. Is that it? I did it. Right. Okay, this is why they're mean. What is the minimum value? Is the minimum value the x? No, it's the y. What is the x called? Where it occurs. Okay, so it doesn't ask where it's occurring. Where does the minimum occur? It is, what is the minimum value? Maxes and mins are actual heights. So I need to plug 1 into the original, which is right here. 1 times e to the 1 over 1, which is just e. There's your answer right there. That is a really hard problem. Remember, you guys can bomb a lot of this test and still get a really high score. Okay, it is going to be curved. All right, we're stopping at 10. We're on 10. 10 is a cakewalk. You ready? This is the calc on this is super easy. It's algebra. So e to the 4 ln of x cubed. Now, here's the algebra that maybe you forgot. Do you guys know where this actually belongs? Yeah, on ln and log, same thing. What is the number in front? What is that? You remember that? That's the exponent. This 4 actually goes right here. So it should be e to the ln of x to the 3rd to the 4th power, which is really e to the ln of x to the 3 to the 4 is 12th power. By the way, what do e and ln do to each other? Cancel, and we're left with x to the 12th power. What's the derivative of x to the 12th power? 12x to the 11th, done. That's it. All right, so problems 1 through 10. I'm going to stop it.